welcome to the Golden Hour. I am Golden Duffy, your host, and I am joined today in my house with Erick Nunez. Welcome, Erick.
Thank you for having me, Golden.
So excited to have you here today. So Erick is, he's the owner of Lightwork Entertainment. He is actually in the Army Reserves. Thank you so much for your service. That's an incredible honor for us to have you here speaking on the energy of numerology. So I met Erick a little while ago. Him and I are actually creating an event together. So I'm really excited about that. On January 27th, we're going to be in Laguna Beach together, and Erick is going to be sharing his brilliance. And I thought, how cool to just have you on my show so that people can see and hear and feel what you're actually promoting in the world, which brings the vibration of the world up. So anytime we take part in something that is like history, that is, the ancient wisdom of, the collective is coming through us in this current reality, we shift the vibration of the world. And that's why I'm so excited to work with Erick, because he's going to make my life better and to share him with you and all of your incredible information. So I am not a numbers person, but I do notice numbers. So that's why I get really excited. So Erick, share a little bit about how you got interested. I know that numbers has kind of been a thing your whole life. I feel like we're definitely born with that sort of thing, where I'm more of a word person, but I know you were kind of born into being being moved by numbers. So how did you get into like the study of numerology?
Right. So I think it comes like with just experience and just everything I actually went through. I felt like I was doing everything right, but I wasn't seeing any progress. So I felt like I needed to have a better understanding of myself and even the people around me. Just because I feel like I've never been able to have great communication, even with my family. So it's definitely helped me out with that. And I've always seen repeating numbers since I was a kid. But I always, go on Google and, you see the angel numbers. But
that's what I do.
Yeah. So it's just, the thing is that the thing with Google and just information out there is sometimes you have to almost go in a scavenger hunt and see what's real, what isn't.
Right.
But they mix that, and people are just like, oh, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
So there's some right to it, but not all of it.
Right.
So I just, seeing these repeating numbers just almost made me feel like, it's a message, right? But I look at it doesn't resonate with me. So I love math. I didn't want to go into engineering, but I did take calculus my junior year.
Okay.
And, that was fun for me. But then I didn't really get anything out of it.
Right.
So numbers definitely help me understand people, and even sometimes just meeting them.
Right.
I can tell them about themselves, what they're going through.
Yeah.
Because we all have, like a yearly lesson and things like that. So
that is amazing. Awesome. I'm like spinning from the fact that numbers could actually improve our communication and relationships and even give us a roadmap to life, right? Because we're all kind of just flying around by the seat of our pants. Just, we're responding to energy or reacting to energy if you're not good at responding. I always say reacting is like the idea of not having any control over yourself. It's like you're letting the energy tell you what to do, where when you start to move more into a responsive way of life, then you start to actually become a co-creator with it. And then you can start to co-create with it.
Exactly. And it just comes down to being aware of what your current energy that you're in right now.
Yes.
So, sometimes people that I meet, I was doing readings at Santa Monica Pier. And then I would just get their birthdays, not even their names.
Yep.
And I would read them on the spot. And then they would just be like,
blown away.
Yeah. It's just like, oh no. Some people would get scared, but it's just, this is a system that was created by Pythagoras as well. There's different kinds of numerology, but that's the one that resonated with me. And I just kind of, went down the rabbit hole with that.
Yep.
I was just in my room and I had all these books and just, I'm in the books.
Started going into it.
Yep, exactly. Because when I do something, I just want to go all in.
Yeah.
I want to go all in and do it right.
Yeah.
So, of course, there's a lot to learn still, but I definitely have used that. And even with myself, just being conscious of, how to react to certain situations or the days.
Yeah.
So each day has its own energy.
Isn't that crazy? Okay, this is new to me. I did not know this, but I do know that often, and our listeners may feel the same way, that often there's days that I feel different. And when I force myself to do things, it will often not turn out like the best day. So you could be having a bad day, not necessarily because of your energy or your attitude, which I've always taught, but you could not be having the right day because you haven't actually married it with the best day to be out in the world doing things. So I think it's so cool. Like, you're giving us a blueprint to doing things more energetically through numbers.
Right. And that just also comes with me being a Virgo and being a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Making sure I'm not going out on certain days and trying to network when in fact I should be learning, you know, and spending some alone time. Right. So it's just that, and just understanding people. When you start realizing what the day's energy is, you start just noticing how people react.
Yeah.
They may not be conscious of it, but it's still happening. They still feel that way, and they may not even know why.
They may not know why. And I think that can lead to a lot of people beating themselves up for not feeling like doing things or not doing things on certain days, or going out and networking when it's not the greatest day for them to be doing it. And then nothing happens because they weren't aligned with the energy on it. That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's like that's a secret, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely.
We're letting the secret out, people.
Yeah, no, and I feel like I've also grown a lot more since in the shorter amount of time period, using numerology compared to before.
Yeah.
Because now I'm just being conscious about it. I'm more confident, and I know so.
Yes.
So it's just more calculated moves.
Yes.
And it's like, people don't have to know about numerology to be successful, but like I said, it comes with me being a perfectionist, and I want to make sure I pinpoint to know when to do certain things.
Well, and it's helpful. It's helpful to know these things. It's just like law of attraction or manifesting. It's like the more that you understand how it works in the energy field, the more productive you're going to be, and the easier life is going to get. I feel like this makes life a little bit easier and a lot more fun, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I feel like when you're also more in your energy, what I mean by in your energy. So for example, your personal year, you're in your 8th personal year when you turn on your birthday last year.
Yeah.
So this whole year from your birthday up until this upcoming year, this year, 7 months. Yeah. Your main lesson will be karmic and making money as well.
Okay. So I like that. Like the sound of that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And now we're also
Aren't you glad you're working with me?
Yeah. And we're entering the year of the dragon, right? So which is also in your friend trine. So your friend trine is you just have better communication. So it's groups of 3 in Chinese astrology. Okay. So for you, it's the rat, the dragon, and the monkey.
Yeah, I'm the rat. Isn't that great? That's great. I don't know why. Why do I have to be the rat? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
you're trying to get me to think like rats are really good. I'm like,
I mean, you also have your soulmate sign, so the ox. So you also have more advantageous years. So each year, it's one zodiac. It's not like in Western astrology where it's just Virgo, Taurus, where it's just monthly.
Right. So the Western. That's the Western.
Correct. Okay. And then the Eastern, which would be like the Chinese, would be
just have the same animal for the whole year.
Exactly. Okay. So, and it happens every 12 years.
Every 12 years. Okay.
And then we also talked about your enemy year. So we all get hit once. So it's 6 years younger than you and 6 years older than you. Okay. And then 12 years from those years as well.
Okay. So explain the enemy year, because I'm still trying to figure this one out. What is the enemy year? So you have a friend year.
So you have your friend trine. So it's a group of 3. So
what is it called?
Your friend trine. So it's a group of 3, right? Okay. So 3 also has to do with the number of communication. So you just have better communication with them, whether it's to business or friendships and things like that. It doesn't have to be necessarily romantic. Okay. But one person or sign that you should avoid is your enemy sign. Okay. And not necessarily avoid, but more so keep your distance.
Got you.
You don't want to have anything, printed, because, for example, people getting married on certain days. Yeah. That's recorded. Yep. So it's imprinted with that energy. And, when I've gone to couples as well and they tell me their date, I'll tell you, okay, this is what your marriage is about. Because it's imprinted with that. Oh, so what you don't want to do is get married in your enemy year. Oh. Right? When sometimes it may seem like it, right? But that's just sometimes comes with temptation. Right. Things don't appear as they might seem.
Right. So what is the enemy year? What is my enemy year?
So your enemy year would be the year of the horse. Okay. So 1990, 2002, 2014, and then your next one would be 2026.
Okay, good. I didn't get married on any of those years.
Yeah.
Or I'm supposed to get married.
No, not your enemy, no. Right.
Okay. So marriage is going well. Good.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, sometimes people align on the other side of it. Right. They get married in their enemy year, they have a baby in their enemy year. And what I've noticed as well is when there are enemy signs within families, because they have karmic debt. Yeah. Probably from the past lives as well.
Yeah. So that's why they would do that, because it's kind of a past life thing.
Yeah, but they don't even know it consciously.
Right. Of course not.
Right.
No.
So then it just it just turns out that way. And then for some other people, everything aligns. You know, they get married on the right day.
Right.
You want to get married on the 6th day, because 6 has to do with family. Or even just your house, the address, everything, the date, all that matters. You know, if you're a perfectionist, you can still, you know, at the end of the day, I feel like love and light is still above everything.
That's so true.
So I think it's just, for me, that's why I like it, because I can bring idealism into practicality for people.
Right.
And it's super short. Anybody can learn it.
Yeah.
I mean, they taught us algebra. I feel like algebra is harder than numerology.
Way hard.
Yeah.
I couldn't do algebra.
Yeah.
I got a D in algebra. So this is based on people's birthdays, right?
Correct.
So people give you their birthday, and then you figure out like kind of like the roadmap for them.
Exactly. So
share mine so people understand what you do. Can you share mine?
So for your birthday, I can say your birthday.
Yeah.
Okay. So August.
They know how. I'm old. It's okay.
So August.
I'm just getting started.
I just want to make sure. I mean, I know.
We're good.
Privacy stuff.
I'm not hiding anything.
So August 29th.
Yep.
1984.
No,
right?
1972, but thank you.
1972.
Yeah, so that changes things.
Okay, well, partly. So because you're born on the 29th,
so
2 plus 9 is 11. So that will be your partial energy.
Okay.
So your partial energy will always be the day that you're born on.
Okay.
Which is supplemental to your life path.
Okay.
Your life path is your lesson throughout your whole life that you will constantly see.
Okay.
And will help you know your abilities.
Okay.
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 So for you all you would do to reduce the numerology to get your life path would be add each number individually, not for its value. So then it would be 8 plus 2 is 10, 10 plus 9 is 19, 19 plus 1 is 20, and then 29. 29 plus 7 is 36, and then 36 plus 2 is 38. Yeah, you're still double 11. Okay. So as an 11s are, you know, the master visionaries, the master teacher. They have that charisma. Okay. They're going to have more success also even in technology, or just, you know, having a way of saying things, or even getting out of situations that other people wouldn't be able to. Right. Because you know how to. Right. But as an 11, your thoughts are very, very, very important, because your emotions can cloud your decisions. So your biggest lesson would be just having a control of your emotions, so that way you can clearly see what you want to really manifest. Right. And you're not just, because you will also feel other people as well. Right. A lot of people will open up to you just because 11 is a master number. That's true. So in numerology, you reduce to the numbers 1 through 9 when you add up. So for you, I got when you add up the last two after adding everything, you get your life path. Okay. And then your partial energy. So you're double 11. Okay. And then your soul urge, which is what your soul needs, not necessarily your wants. So maybe it's out of your comfort zone, but I feel like you're already in that space of building others. Right. So 22. So you're the master builder. But that is just your birthday. Right. Because your name also holds a vibration as well. Right. Because each letter is a number in the alphabet. So all that also plays into, you know, in more specifics, right? Yeah. But when it comes to just in general, like essentially, you calculate your life path. You figure out, you know, for example, maybe somebody who they added up and it equals 28. 2 plus 8 is 10, which is 1. So they're meant to be a leader in this lifetime. Right. But maybe they don't want to step out of their comfort zone. They're a pushover. Right. But that's their biggest lesson. Right. So it could be the opposite. Correct. Okay, that makes sense. So it doesn't mean necessarily because, you know, someone could have the same exact birthday as you, but they may not be charismatic. They may be totally different. Exactly. They may be, you know, taking people for granted, or, you know, taking advantage of them. Right. You know, complete opposite, right? Because we live in a world of duality. Right. So there needs to be balance as well. Right. So it's not necessarily set in stone. It could be the opposite. Exactly. Wow. It'll be one or the other. Right. Wow. So, and then even for people born on the 12th, on the 3rd, 21st, on the 30th, though they have partial 3 energies. So their biggest lesson will be communication. Right. Being creative, expressing themselves. Right. A lot of their success will come from networking and meeting people. Right. All right. So wait, I do have to just, because this just popped into my head. Mm-hmm. If people would like to do a reading with you, how do they find you? Yeah, so they could just find me at my Instagram handle is naiads.tide. So NAIADS.TIDE, like the ocean. So I'm a very ocean guy too as well. Even though I have the big respect for it, but I love it. Yeah, that's why we get along so well. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to actually put that in the show notes so that if you do want to do a reading with him, I'm telling you, this stuff is like mind-blowing.
and to understand at a deeper level these things that could actually make your path easier and make your kind of give you the blueprint to living a little more intentionally, right?
Exactly.
I did want to ask another question about, whoa, okay, so I am a Google person. I'm a Google queen, I call myself, because I Google everything because I'm super curious. I am the type of person that when I see numbers, I always Google it, because at different times, I will manifest a different message, right? So for me, the messages often align. But now that you know so much, as someone like me who's done that in the past, what can I do when I see, besides texting you, what can I do when I see those? Because I always look at numbers as messages, right? Messages from beyond. So how do we take it to more of a level where it's like, I know what's going on, for sure, instead of somebody's random Google message?
Honestly, for me, my reference, I like the complete book of numerology by David Phillips.
See,
so I like that book.
Okay.
I also like the 369 Project. That one briefly talks about numerology, but I feel like it ties it together.
Okay.
And it's also like a workbook as well.
Okay, cool.
So I spent myself just kind of reprogramming my subconscious.
Okay. So did you memorize what all the numbers mean? You are.
Yes. Yeah, so exactly.
He's good.
Yeah. So I mean, each number, it just has its quick little meaning,
and
then you just put it into your interpretation.
Right.
So once you do that, then if I see 333 and you see 333, it may mean completely different things.
Right.
But it's still something. So for me, for example, I can do 333. If you reduce that, that's 9. Okay. So maybe if I'm thinking about something, and this is what I tell people, you have to be conscious of what you're thinking about when you see these repeating numbers.
And that's what I usually do.
Yeah. And I feel like even me, sometimes I'm like, you just write it down or something, because you can forget.
Right.
So I would say just see what you're thinking about, see what it means, and use that as a reference to figure out what the message is, and use your inner discernment.
Yeah, because you're always going to get intuition about these things as well. Oops, hold on one second. Cancel that. Okay, great. All right, so when it comes to numerology, what can you tell the very, very beginner would be their best bet? Is it like to get the reading first, or to start studying it on their own?
I would say they can, all the information is out there.
Yeah.
It's just more so like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
But it would be easier to get a reading, or they can just get a feel of what numerology is, just so that way sometimes people like to learn things on their own.
Right.
For example, people born on the 7th, on the 16th, or the 25th, they're all partial 7s. So 7 is a number of the intelligent, the genius. So they don't really like to be taught by other people.
Right.
They like to just get a little bit and then go on their own.
Okay.
So it really just depends on the person. And that's how I would advise, because maybe for other people, they just want the shortcut.
So
and
even how we learn is based on our birthdays.
Exactly.
Like how we like to take in information. So I think this is really helpful too, because a lot of us think we have these things in our personalities that we don't necessarily think are a great advantage. And I think when you start to do stuff like this and human design, you start to realize and embrace who you are, and then start to use it for your ultimate advantage by understanding kind of the intricacies of these different modalities.
Exactly. And not even just yourself, but those around yourself.
Yes.
So I feel like even me, I've had more patience with people and just understanding, because we all go through all the numbers essentially, because you also have your personal days. So you maybe things that you need to work with internally, and then the day's energy, all that matters as well. So it's not, a lot of people also think it's just like one answer, but it's not.
No, there's a lot. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of layers. I'm still kind of out here in the ethers with it, but I'm getting closer. The more I hang out with you, the more I'm starting to understand it. So if this does feel a little overwhelming, just this is a beginning, we're just introducing the concepts of numbers. I've always kind of felt like I was into it, but I realized that I had no clue about it until I met you. And I was like, okay, now we're going to get a little deeper, which I like. I really love that. I love to know these things. Like, universal law has always been my jam, but to realize that there's these other things out here that can be so helpful and can lead and guide us in such a way that our life becomes even exponentially better. I feel pretty blessed for that.
No, yeah, definitely. And well, at first I did doubt it for a little bit.
Did you?
I did. And well, honestly, that's the reason why I went out in public and did these readings.
Really?
So that way
you could prove it to yourself.
Exactly.
That it actually works.
Exactly. And no one can tell me it doesn't work because I don't even know these people. And they're over here with their, mouth open and just surprised. So,
and I feel like that's with anything. When we start to learn something, like we have to put, like I did Pam Grout's book E Squared, and it's 9 simple experiments you can do to prove the law of attraction works. Mm-hmm. So I had a lot of evidence before I started teaching it. And then when you start teaching it, you keep learning as you're teaching. Mm-hmm. And that's what creates the feeling of like mastering it or being able to really apply it in your life. Like you apply this like nobody's business. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do. And I feel like it's also a me thing. Like I said, me being a perfectionist, but it makes me feel good as well. Yeah. Now, it could be the placebo or it could also mean...
Doesn't matter, right?
But it's working.
They say it never matters. Anything that can up your vibe, whether it's a placebo or not, is a good thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we're going to do an event together. I'm super excited. We're doing a live event in Laguna Beach, California. Coming up very quickly on January 27th, I'm going to put the link in the show notes for the tickets. This event, we are so, like, every time we get together, there's more and more excitement drawn from there's four of us that we get together. And I think that energy that we're creating, the currency that we're already creating, is already influencing the field of what's going to happen. So you want to be a part of this event. If you're local, even if you are a little bit far away, I believe this will be worth coming in. It's a day event. We're going to have tacos. We're going to have entertainment. And Erick is going to do, what he does, but you're going to see it in live and in person and be able to connect with him on the level that actually kind of unfolds this for you and helps you to understand it a little bit more. So that is super exciting. You want to talk about the event at all? Like, what's your feelings on this?
Well, honestly, it's just something that I've envisioned for a while now. And even honestly, just this, I talk about it with Melanie all the time. And I'm getting to the point where now, when you envision things, there's a lag to it. There's a little bit of a lag to it.
Because it takes energy a little time to break down and become physical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So now.
So how do you feel in the lag? Do you feel like?
No, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's just out of my comfort zone as well. But it's definitely something that I am passionate about. And I know it's not just like, topic that I'm interested in for a little bit. Yeah. It's just, I actually want to teach people and, because I wish somebody told me about it. Yes. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm really trying to do because anybody can do this. Anybody can learn this. Yeah. We all have the ability to.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel like I came here to empower people as well.
I love that. And being able to see that vision. So what kind of stuff do you do in the lag when you're feeling the lag? What kind of?
I would say I just, sit back and just evaluate everything.
Yeah.
And be more patient with myself.
Yeah. Allow it, right?
Celebrate even the small wins, just always trying to be in the gratitude state. I would say that because then
that's so good.
You'll attract what you're vibrating.
Yes.
And your thoughts will, attract, will come from your vibration.
Yeah.
So.
And that's why I feel really good about this, because when you attract somebody like this, you go, I must be doing something right.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. And it's something, you have to dial in exactly the frequency that you want, right? So sometimes, it's not the people around us.
Yeah.
It'll be someone completely you didn't think you would meet up with.
It's true. And sometimes you have to let the low frequency ones go to find the higher ones. That's definitely been true for me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Well, I'm so excited to be working with you. That passion drives our energy. And so when you feel that passion, when you feel that excitement, knowing that it's going to transform the energy field in which you live, that creates even more excitement, right?
Exactly. And not only that, but also to show everyone else.
Yes.
Because I live by my own truth.
Yes.
And that's why I feel like I can stand on what I say. And that's the whole reason why I went to Santa Monica, to make sure that I'm not just doing this because I think this is cool.
That was a brave thing for you to do, I think.
Yeah.
Just go out there and just talk to people. And
I started going like 2-3 times a week. I even went to the Torrance Mall as well, and just just out there free numerology readings. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's just that you meet people that sometimes if there's not a spiritual exchange, if there's not any kind of they don't appreciate it,
right?
Then I noticed that
they almost can't grasp it as
exactly,
much, right?
Exactly. But then there's other people that are like, take all my money.
Now, have you noticed that has to do with their numbers or their day or whatever?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
But only because when I would go out and do readings, I would notice almost the same number, the same life path. I was getting almost like a pattern.
Yep.
But then also our outer world is also a reflection of us.
Yep.
So I also took that as things that I needed to work on.
Right.
Sometimes we get patterns of, oh, this is happening.
Right.
Like often. We'll maybe think why, where does it come from?
Right.
Even just seeing a car and seeing when they were founded, things like that.
Yeah.
All that holds vibration.
Oh, I love that so much. Just going to text my next guest. All right. So just leave us with one little tip that you can give our listeners right here who maybe have just never really heard of this before. One little tip that could kind of shift the reality into being more aware of numbers.
I would say be mindful on days that have ones.
Okay.
So the 1st, the 10th, the 28th.
Okay.
Or the 19th. Because I notice a lot more people are cutting people off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or they're just more aggressive because one represents the masculine.
On those
those days. Or just even arguments or getting physical, people will feel that way. So that has definitely helped me, have more patience. Like, okay, it's a double one day. Or this,
Do you see how helpful this is? This is incredibly helpful. All right. So, and that one day means that you add the two numbers together. Right.
So you would add the day. So for example, today's 1/19/2024.
Yep. Okay.
So 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 9 is 11, and then 2024 is 8. So 11 + 8 is 19.
Okay.
So when you add up the whole thing,
you got to add up the whole thing
one by one.
Okay.
Each number individually.
You might need a calculator. I will.
Yeah. So 1/19/2024.
Yeah.
Would add up to 19.
Okay.
Once you add up all those numbers.
Okay.
So then you keep reducing. You want to reduce to a single digit unless it's a master number, which is 11, 22, and 33. Those numbers you don't reduce.
Okay.
So now you have 19. 1 + 9 is 10.
Okay.
1 + 0 is 1. So then that's the reduced version of the day's energy, the total day's energy.
Okay.
And then the partial energy will just be the day.
Okay.
So today's the 9th, happens to be the 19th as well. So 1 + 9 is 10, 1. So it's a double one day.
Okay.
But that just comes with this whole month being a 9 universal month.
Right. So double one means what for the day?
So it means stepping into that leadership role, stepping out of your comfort zone, starting new things.
Gotcha.
Maybe just, taking initiative.
Right.
Into projects that you need to do,
I love this. Working with the energy field, right?
Exactly. As opposed to yesterday, that was a double 9 day.
Yeah.
That's a good day to release. So you don't want to start things on a double 9 day. Because that is the last numbers. 9 represents completion.
Okay.
And then 1 represents new beginnings.
Yeah.
So those are just things like that you can just apply.
So now what if you have a job and you have to do things on that day? You can't really.
Right.
So how strict are you about this? And if you got to go to work, you got to go to work, right?
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
And there's just some things I've realized that, like I said, love supersedes numerology and light.
I love this.
So there's sometimes
you can override it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Even if logically it makes sense, I want to do something, but if I'm not feeling it, then I also have to make sure that I take care of that as well. But still finding a way to utilize it. So maybe today I don't have to start new things, but I can do something outside of my comfort zone.
Right.
Just recording, and whether that's privately or just reading a book, just going for a walk even. Yeah. It doesn't have to be something completely deep either.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's really good advice. So don't you want to know more about this? I feel like I might have been doing it all wrong. I don't know. My life shows me that I'm doing it well, but I feel like knowing these things could help you to do it better.
Definitely. Yeah. And even with just running a business too, just figuring out when to, launch opening days and things like that. You don't want to do it on a double 9 day.
Right.
You want to do it on a double 1 day.
Don't you want this guy like business consulting with you? For sure. That's one of the branches that you're offering is to do business consulting and help businesses to really fine tune this so that they are doing things on a good day so that they understand their employees a little bit more.
Exactly.
And they can make their business really run, really effectively and really efficiently.
Yeah. I mean, energy is definitely influential in the workspace, whether people acknowledge it or not. People feel a certain kind of way.
Sure.
So when the energy is flowing, when I was doing mortgages in the sales floor, when everybody's feeling good, you just, all right, let's get it.
Caught up in it.
Exactly. It's just
energy begets energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but then when everything's off or when something's off, then everybody feels it, and then it translates into, production.
That's so true. And you see it even like, if we're watching football, it's like once one person starts to get off, you watch the team. I mean, we're like Dallas Cowboy fans, and they're just like killing us again, And it's like that one, top guy gets off his game. And I think that's what made, I can't believe I'm talking about football right now, but that's what made the guy who's always successful. What's his name? I can't believe I can't remember his name. Oh, whatever. Okay. But he always makes a comeback because his energy literally inspires the team, So it's really interesting how, it's really interesting. Oh, let's just check this. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, so football, life, games, energy, business, all of it.
You can apply it in all aspects of your life.
Completely.
Everything.
Yeah. Yep.
Everything. And even just understanding your parents, I feel like there's also a lot of.
Oh, you're going to blow my mind with this one, I'm sure.
unhealed trauma.
Yeah.
Unhealed trauma that you may not even know you have. And now you understand why maybe your parents were a certain way during that time, because maybe it depends on their personal and what energy is, right? Everybody's constantly changing every year because we're constantly growing. We're not the same person we were a week ago.
So true. So true.
It's because each year is a different lesson.
Boy, that could really help you in your family life, right?
Yeah.
Let things go.
And even just understanding your kids as well.
Yeah.
Understanding
I'm going to need help with this one. We're going to have to sit down and talk for a long time about this one. So as far as your kids go, like knowing what their energy is, the year that they were born in can kind of help you to work with them.
Exactly. So,
wow, that's helpful. That's a whole other line of thinking, like helping parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Well, I also did it as well because they helped with my relationship as well, even with my mother.
Okay.
And even understanding each other and how she understands my siblings now. She has more patience for them.
So you taught this to your mom?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good that she was open to it.
Yeah, it took a while, but I knew it would come.
Yeah, and it probably took you kind of showing the evidence of it to get her there.
Exactly. I mean, and that it was a reflection of myself because obviously I'm her son, so she knows I have done a lot of growing.
Yes, like she knows you. And
so and well, even when I've done readings and I've got reviews, she's like, I would leave you a review, but I won't because people are gonna be like, she's your mom,
your mom.
But I seen it firsthand with her and with everyone.
But I feel like we're your biggest critics. Like we look at our kids and we go, oh, like you're trying to tell me what to do and me how to live, but then you've got this like science behind it.
Exactly.
That and the evidence of it that brought her to it.
Exactly. And then there's always synchronicities that would happen that at first she gave a little bit of resistance, but then even like putting gas or things like that, she would see like a number that had to do with what we were talking about.
So it was starting to happen in her
exactly.
field.
So I was like, I'm just, I know when I bring it to someone, they can either choose to accept it or ignore it, but also everyone has their own journey. And that's just something that I also had to work on as well. And now I've had more patience with that. So.
Wow, that's gold right there. All right, so let's talk about my kids for a second. All right, so if so let's take my youngest because I love her birthday. She's 11/11. 11/11/03. So tell me a little bit about her.
11/11/03.
Yeah.
22.
Right, 03. Yeah. Yep.
24 plus 3 is 27. Okay. So her life path. So if you add up her whole birthday straight across, so she has 2 master numbers.
Okay.
So this is before her life path, right? This is just a vibration. So this is why I don't split it. So 11 plus 11 is 22.
Okay.
22 plus 2 is 24 from 2003.
Okay.
And then 24 plus 3 is 27. 2 plus 7 is 9. So your daughter is a 9 life path. Okay. So her biggest lesson would be letting go of things. She'll constantly see a full circle moments in her lifetime.
Okay.
Emotional as well.
Yeah.
That's why she needs to let go of things.
Yeah.
but just having a great sense of herself as well at the same time.
Right.
She essentially can learn anything as well.
Okay.
Her environment is who she is, so she
Okay.
can adapt to the environment. That's
Wow.
the beauty of a 9.
Right.
You know, they can go in any crowd and blend in. She probably has friends from different
Many
ethnicities or
sure.
just groups that they probably can't meet together.
Yeah.
But she can be in those spaces
That's so
individually.
true. That's so true. So as a mom, what is my best avenue for like supporting that?
So I would say
this is good stuff.
So you also said
I should be taking notes.
So it all comes down to a couple of things, right?
Yeah.
So the year she was born, 2003,
yeah.
right? So that's the year of the goat.
Okay.
So her friend sign would be the year of the cat, the year of the pig, and then her sign, of course, right? So
yeah.
last year was the year of the cat, and we're still in the year of the cat.
Okay.
But the new year, the lunar year, is February 10th.
Okay.
Well, February 9th, the first day of the year of the dragon is February 10th.
So it changed. It's not January 1st. It's February.
Correct. Well, it also depends on each year. Each year is a little bit different.
Oh,
sometimes it's like late January. Sometimes like you just have to look it up.
It's a different day. It has to do with the moon?
It just honestly, that I haven't got into.
Okay.
That is just it varies, and
okay.
that's always been a constant thing that's always changing.
Gotcha.
But her enemy sign is the ox.
Okay.
So 2021.
Okay.
So for example, a lot of us when we turn 18 or 17, we're graduating high school.
Yeah.
Happens to be our enemy year.
Yeah.
So when you're enemy year, you should wait it out and not start any new things.
2021 was definitely a year of her just backing off and doing nothing for sure.
Yeah. So that even if that didn't seem good in the moment,
yeah,
it actually is. Because
this would have been so much more helpful to have you around during that time. It really would have. It could have chilled me out a lot.
But see, here's the thing, and this is why I also like to read older people, because people my age even, they don't see it because they are still living life. They're still learning. But you can look back.
Yeah.
And even my mom can look back
and see the progression of it.
And
for sure.
See what happened.
Yep.
You know, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
So that's how you know how accurate it is.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah, I would love for you to talk to her about that a little bit. Because it's like just having that guidance, I think, at such a young age could really change things.
Exactly. Yeah.
And for me to sit there and listen so that I'm not pushing her. You know?
Yeah. And even, for example, her personal year. So her personal year right now, so you said 11/11, right?
Yep.
So she's in her 11th personal year. She just turned on her birthday. But before that, she was in her 1 personal year.
Okay.
So 1 is new beginnings, starting new things, or learning things the hard way.
That was last year?
Up until her birthday.
Up until her birthday.
Yeah. So from 2022, 11/11 up until last 2023, 11/11, she was in her 1 personal year. So new beginnings.
Okay.
Or being more stubborn. The masculine represents more pushback.
Oh.
The initiative.
It would have been helpful to know about that.
Yeah. But then when she shifted on her birthday, so 11 plus 11 is 22, and then 2023 is 7.
Yeah.
So 22 plus 7 is 29. 2 plus 9 is 11.
Yeah.
So then she's in her 11th personal year. So just this whole year from her birthday up until later this year in 2024 on her birthday, she has to have, she'll be learning a lot.
Yep.
She'll feel everything more.
Yep.
And it's the perfect year for her to see what she truly wants, the master vision. That's what it really is about.
I love that. She actually just completed her dream board last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it was on a double 9 day completing, you know. And then you also have your personal month. So she's in her 11th personal year.
Yeah.
But she's in her 3 personal month. Okay. So this is the perfect time for her to communicate, to express, work on that communication with visionary, or just network and go out and meet people. Yeah. You know.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Or she could be on the complete opposite side of maybe she doesn't want to meet people right now. So you'll feel one or the other. Right. It's just which side you decide to be on.
And so the side that you decide to be on is really based on how you feel.
Exactly.
And that's why we got to not push, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's why, wanting to have our kids do things at a certain time or, in a certain timeline. I think everyone's so used to pushing their kids into college right after high school. And we were never like that. We really let our kids find themselves. But in that transition from high school, if they're not going to college, figuring that out can be really very stressful on the parent to be like, okay, what are we doing with our lives? And she always tells me, don't worry about me, Mom. And I don't, because she's very spiritually led. And I know that she's on a path. But these little messages are so helpful.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. And it's just also even bringing an understanding of how you made feel.
I think we should do a parenting book on numbers.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't that be helpful? To understand your kid at that level?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it helps on both ends. Yeah. It's just you may not fully understand, but you know why they feel that
Exactly.
way.
Instead of telling them that they're wrong for the way that they feel.
Exactly. Because sometimes, I mean, I'm not a parent yet, but I know when I am a parent, I know I will learn from them as well.
Absolutely.
So,
and that was the cool thing I thought about your mom when you were talking about your mom and saying that she is now kind of getting into this and listening to you, is you guys are our teachers. Like, you are our guides. You guys came in a different time, a different space, a different reality. So you have different understandings that we do. And one thing I want to speak to in our society is so many people I talk to say, you know, this is the generation of kids who are entitled. And I always love to shift that, because I feel like it's such a negative connotation, because you guys have figured out how to do it differently. You figured out how to do it easier. You figured out how to make money just from speaking online. So I think if we can shift that and look at this generation coming up as really very brilliant and very genius in doing these different modalities to actually create an ease and flow of life, that they're not going to do it the way we did it. You know,
Definitely
because
not.
we were taught to set goals and to push energy and to make it happen. So we're coming out of that struggle, right? That struggle energy. And now we're just learning, and you guys are coming up and it's like, everything's fine, Mom. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
and so you guys are doing it differently. So I think that is something I want to share as far as like the entitlement aspect. I think puts a very negative connotation on your generation, and we need to shift that.
Yeah, no, definitely. But it also just comes with, you know, the year you were born.
Yeah.
Before, everyone has a 1 and a 9 in front of their birth year.
Okay.
Right?
Talk about this. This is good. This is good. Yep.
So the 9 is, you know, more ambitious.
Okay.
The 1 is the masculine of let's do these things. Let's step out of our comfort zone.
Okay.
Be the initiator.
Okay.
Now everyone born after 2000 has that 2, which represents the female.
So this really clicked for me, because I have 2 children born in the 19s and I have 2 children born in the 20s. Totally different situation.
Yeah.
And if you ask the 2 that were born in the 19s, they will say that we have spoiled the ones in the 20s because they don't understand how the energy has changed.
Right.
So maybe they're listening to us. All right. So let's talk a little bit about that. So if you were born in the 19s, which most of us in my age group, what is it, like 30, probably like almost 39, 40, you'd be born in the 19s.
Right. Like 1970, 1980, 1990. Right. So all those numbers, you're going to have that, you know, energy attached to it.
Which is more of like a pushing energy, right?
Right.
Like the masculine.
Right. So.
Which is basically how our country's run, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
They were all born in the 19s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, and even that has to do with, for example, when July 4th, 1776.
Yep.
Right. So if you add that adds up to 5. 5 has to do with travel, entertainment, and the U.S. is known for, you know, all the entertainment and, you know, going out and, you know, living the American dream.
Yeah.
But then it's also July 4th, partial energy force, so hard work, structure, discipline. So what is the American dream? You make sure you work your butt off and then you get everything you want.
Yeah.
But
maybe
now
maybe you get to retire. Maybe, maybe.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
But it's just breaking that. Breaking that. And the way I also like to explain it is like tic-tac-toe, right? There's 3 levels.
Yeah.
So there's a physical plane.
Okay.
Then there's the soul plane.
Yeah.
And then there's the conscious, the thinking phase or level, right? So each number corresponds to each plane.
Level. Yep.
So the 1 is the first, 147. Those are physical numbers.
Yep.
258 is the feeling, the higher self, the intuitive. So that's why people are. Our generation that born in 2000s will feel a lot more compared to people born in the 1900s.
So don't tell your kid not to feel. That's good. That's good, right? Like that's other things that I've noticed in negativity where it's like, oh, they're such babies and they feel everything. And it's like, no, there's actually reasons for all of this.
Exactly. And well, people that felt more, for example, people that are 11s. So 11s will feel a whole lot more.
She's a feeler.
Yeah. So,
sure.
So she's still born in the 1900s, but she has that 11 energy.
Yeah.
Right. So the thing is that we don't know what someone is exactly feeling. But let's say, for example, we went through the same exact life.
Yeah.
You're an 11 and I'm a 6 life path. You will feel it a whole lot more than me.
Right.
Even if we go through the same exact thing.
Really?
It's just how it is.
Interesting. So then if you're born in the 20s, it's the feminine, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Right. So the 1 represents the man. the 2 represents the woman.
Okay.
And then the 3 represents the child.
Okay.
So if you add up all those,
Yeah.
1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6.
Yeah.
6 represents family.
Ah, okay.
So it all is interconnected as well.
Right.
So that's why you would want to have your address add up to 6.
Okay.
6 has to do with family, responsibility. People born on the 6th, on the 15th, on the 24th, they are all partial 6. So their upbringing or their downfall will be family. So they can either be very family oriented,
okay,
or they don't even talk to their family.
So it could be the opposite.
But it'll still be one of their biggest
It's
lessons.
one of their biggest lessons. And that's the part that I think is that intricacy of knowing, like, it's not set in stone. It could be the complete opposite.
Exactly.
That's really interesting. Wow. This is mind-blowing stuff, you guys. Like, I feel like it's one of these things that once you understand it, like, I always think about when I'm learning things, it's like a grid filling in, right? So I'm like, I get excited when I'm learning things because I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the grid to fill in because it helps me to not have anxiety about stuff, right?
Yeah.
So this kind of thing, it's like, and numbers is one of my, like, this is, it'd be interesting because I have this belief that I'm not good with numbers. But when I hear you speak, it's like, but this is a way to be better with numbers.
Exactly. Well, I also feel if you ask 90% of the people, and if you bring up anything with math, everybody goes, yeah. They just automatically think
Except
they're
for
not
a couple
good.
people in my family.
Yeah. Well, but see,
because I feel like if you're good with words, you're not normally good with math, right? Like, it's a different part of your brain.
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely feel that as well. So I'm still working on that, but
because I don't want to believe that.
Yeah.
But then I look at math and I go, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
But how much is that is willingness, right? So I wasn't good at math when I was younger. I wasn't good at algebra. My teachers told me I wasn't good at it. So how much of that is just my belief system, that core belief system that drives the energy that doesn't allow me to comprehend?
Exactly. And most people, once I start talking numbers, they just go on
gloss over. Do you see me gloss over?
They're on airplane.
Did I gloss over?
Yeah. So, but I think it's also set up on purpose that way, because then they bore us with all this math that essentially we're not. Of course, we use addition, subtraction in our everyday life.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much the most you'll use.
Yeah.
We won't be using algebra to drive to the store to figure out people.
Yeah.
But we can definitely figure out people through numerology.
Right.
But why did they leave that out?
I don't know. They didn't want us to figure that out, I guess. But here we are.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it didn't work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My husband does use algebra, though. He's actually, he builds things, so he uses algebra all the time. So I'm like, there are people in the world
of course,
that needed that, but I was not one of them.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. Like doctors, all that, of course, they need that, right?
Yeah.
That's just with that. But I mean, just with everyday life.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just
so cool.
Changing that, negative connotation, just like with, the younger generations.
Yeah. So how can people, besides, I really would love for people to connect with you because I think you can give them such a wealth of information. As far as the calendar goes, you really should make a calendar and offer it to people.
Yeah, I actually do.
Are you working on it, or you already have it?
We have them already.
Okay, because I need one of those. So just understanding those days. Now, the days of the calendar, does that depend on when you were born, or that really is just for everybody?
Yeah, it depends on the day you were born.
Okay. So you'd have to have it for different people?
So the year changes everything. So depending on, that, it just depends on, okay, your enemy year is this year. Because somebody can have... So
you're designing these for people.
Exactly. Well, the universal calendar would just be just how the whole world is in that energy for that day.
Gotcha.
But then there's also personalized with your personal days and what you should be working on internally.
Gotcha.
And then maybe why you may be feeling a certain way.
Wow. That is fascinating, and I need one of those.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and then we have it with the guide as well. So what each number means.
Yeah.
So that way, I mean, it's pretty simple once people actually see it.
Yeah.
And then it's not just like this whole equation.
Well, and I think too, when we do the event, I think it'd be a great idea to have you kind of write some of this stuff out so people can get the visualization, because I haven't gotten that yet, and I think being able to learn that way,
Yeah, that's what I was doing at Santa Monica.
To draw
I had a
things
board. And I'll be like, what's your birthday?
Yeah. And so they could actually see it written out, which I think is super helpful.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you got to come to the event. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And I think you're going to be able to solidify this even more for people that are in the room.
Yeah. No, definitely. Of course. Yeah. And then you also have your significant year.
Okay.
So your significant year is just something that it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's just meant to happen.
Yeah.
It could be positive, it could be negative, but
Okay.
it was meant to happen.
Yeah.
So for you, it was when you were 37 years old.
Something happened that was meant to happen.
Yeah, it could have been a move, could have been meeting someone, it could have been just starting something new, but it was when you were 37.
And what year was that? Math.
So you're
math
born.
Man. I'm going to call you Math Man.
So you're born 1972.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1972, and I said
37.
37, right? So that would be 2009. 2009.
That's when my whole world fell apart. Yeah, that's when the economy completely wiped us out. Bankruptcy, foreclosure, cars repossessed. Yeah, that was a year.
Yeah.
But it was my greatest learning year. Mm-hmm. I know that for a fact because it opened everything up to us. It opened us to law of attraction, manifesting, got us involved in a company that started to get us to travel, that made us realize there was a world outside of, that little box that we lived in for so long. We grew up 2 towns from where we were in this little area that we never really realized that there was. I mean, I'd gone to Florida. That was it.
Yeah. So and that goes back to your personal year. So your personal year that year, you were in your 3 personal year for 2009. So 3 represents the social butterfly. Yeah. Getting out there and networking. Oh man,
I was killing it. Yep. I was networking constantly. Mm-hmm. That's when my speaking career started. That's when I started talking to people. I thought I would never do that. First time I spoke, I think like my ears were on fire. I don't even know what I said. I was flushed. And then I started speaking every single week at these meetings. And I was like, all right, I really enjoy this, Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow, this stuff is fascinating. I really find this so incredible.
Yeah, and then it's also your friendly year, the year of the ox.
Okay.
So the year of the rat, 2008, and then 2009 is the year of the ox. So those are your friend years.
Friend years, which means?
Those are better years to start new things, or you'll be more in luck, more advantageous.
Yeah,
you want to start things in your friend trine energy.
Okay.
That's when you want to start it. So
when's the next one for me?
So for you, is the year of the dragon.
Okay, and is that coming up?
February 10th. Yeah. Your friend is the dragon and the monkey. So Aaron, by the way, is also a monkey. Okay. So he's born the year of the monkey in your friend trine as well.
He's my friend. All right.
So you just have better communication.
Yeah. Oh, I can tell Aaron anything. I love that. You guys are going to get... Oh, actually, Aaron was on my show a couple of weeks ago. He does human design, and he is actually helping us run this event. Mm-hmm. He put the whole thing together. So that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. And then what's your year?
So my year was last year. Okay. And still right now. So I'm a cat. I'm the year, born the year of the cat.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what does that say about us?
Well, it's neutral. It's not bad or bad. Your enemy sign is a horse. Right. So people born. That's just like a no-go. Yeah. Because it's like I said, it doesn't mean you only have to talk to people in your friend trine. Right. You're still gonna get along with other people.
But you're gonna be closer connected, better communication.
Exactly. Or
it's so helpful.
Maybe not even that. Maybe like for example us, but I'm also depending on my energy, on my numerology, which is 9. Yeah. So we can get along. Right. I learn from you and vice versa.
I think this is really helpful because we often, and the cat walks in as you said that, right?
Yeah, he's like, did someone say my name? Somebody called me, did it?
She just got a kiss. Lulu's in the house. So I think it's really helpful because often we can force relationships, we can keep relationships that aren't really working. So when you know these things, it's like, oh, that makes sense why that person didn't stay or why we broke up or all that stuff. So that's really good.
Exactly. So you can go back and then, I can tell you not necessarily your future, but what energy you'll be in. Right.
So, which is helpful. Exactly. It's kind of like preparing yourself for the energy field.
Exactly. And just being aware. That's it.
If you know that it's going to be like a great, you put yourself up to this like great year, your energy is going to be higher when you're in it.
Exactly. Or just even building a roadmap, for the next couple of years.
I really love that.
Hey, I'll do this then. And, sometimes things may not work that way, but at least you'll still be in the energy. So it'll still work out no matter what.
Yeah. I like the idea of you helping people kind of navigate that and kind of help people set the goals and the energy for what they want to do next. Yeah. That's really cool. All right. I'm going to put Erick's information in the show notes. Come and see us in Laguna Beach. You want to get a ticket now because we can only sell a certain amount for this one event. I know this will be one of many. Yes. Thank you so much for being here. This was really, I feel smarter. I just feel smarter when I hang out with this guy. I'm starting to feel smarter. The first time I hung out with you, I'm like, okay, I'm not sure. I loved your energy.
He's talking numbers. Yeah, and he's passionate.
Yeah. I'm glossing over. I'm sure you saw me gloss over several times.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is absolutely awesome. I'm going to put the information in the show notes about how to get in touch with this guy. You really want to have him in your life. I just feel like it's a guidepost, you know. And then I'll put the show notes, the how to sign up and grab yourself a ticket. You want to do that? You want to do it for your friends? You want to do it for your family? Because this event is, I have no doubt that this is going to be one of the most life-changing things that we do together because of the excitement that we have to share the information. It's kind of like we've got this puzzle and we all came together and the puzzle completed. And now we're going to share the puzzle with you that's going to help you to complete that picture of, okay, how am I doing this and where am I going? And what are the best ways to navigate this next year?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're probably the sign that you've been looking for and praying for.
We are. Yes, we are. I know you were for me.
Yeah, for sure. Likewise.
All right, you guys. Thanks for being here. I'm so glad you got to listen to this. And now you're smarter. And we are going to be together live. And I think that is something that you don't want to miss. All right. Peace out.